You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate, and today specifically Real Estate Pro University. Real Estate Pro University is a platform recreated at the Tampa School of Real Estate to provide Florida's most comprehensive real estate licensing and education and training platform. With Real Pro U, you'll not only be able to start your real estate career, but continue your journey of learning and growth to continue advancing your real estate business and grow your real estate career. Let's head over to the board and talk a little bit more about Real Estate Pro University. You can find out more information online at realprou.com. So what is Real Estate Pro University? Real Pro U is designed to be your lifelong real estate training solution. From just getting started with the courses you need to obtain your real estate license, pass your exam, then complete your renewal requirements for the life of your real estate career, but more importantly, being able to train on the Pro University content that's designed to teach you the more real-world, applicable, practical information as it relates to sales, marketing, lead generation, contracts, mortgages, and more. Real Estate Pro University has ultimately three objectives. Number one, to help you pass. Number two, to help you sell. And ultimately, number three, succeed. So this screen that I'm showing right here gives an overview of the different types of content you're going to see in Real Estate Pro University. From the FREC requirements, so this is going to be what the state requires to obtain and maintain that real estate license, as well as the exam prep to help you get past the state exam to obtain the license. Then you have the contract trainings, which cover several different types of contracts. So you're covered with how do you work with buyers, how do you work with sellers, and how do you get buyers and sellers to agree in a purchase and sale agreement. That's the contract training that you'll see there. The lead generation training will help you get appointments, get new business, and ultimately grow your real estate business. And then there's also financing training and even more to help you expand your knowledge base of real estate. So let's focus first on the FREC-approved courses and specifically on what it takes to get licensed, which is this course right here. And this course, through TSRE, through Tampa School of Real Estate, they're the FREC-approved provider of all of the FREC-required courses that are part of Real Estate Pro University. And this course, before Real Estate Pro University was even publicly available, this course has been used for years by students using this video-on-demand program where the course is broken down into short, easy-to-follow videos with interactive questions and exercises to help ensure your understanding of the material, and you do your end-of-course exam completely online. So this is a very popular way, really our most popular way, that students choose to get their real estate license. We've had students from over 40 countries worldwide use this program or several of our online programs to advance their real estate career. Because this isn't our only online program. This is where you would start. This is where you begin. This is what the state requires to obtain the real estate license. But the key thing about this is that this will focus on laws and rules. And there's a lot of them. Your membership also includes a textbook. And so with your first month, you'll get this textbook shipped to you. And this textbook alone is $89.97 if you were to buy it at tampaschoolrealestate.com to just purchase this textbook. And so even with a pro plan, a pro membership to Real Estate Pro University, this textbook is cheaper to get through Real Estate Pro University. And it's an exceptional deal that we have, especially considering the content that you'll have access to. Not just this course, but if you subscribe with a pro membership, you'll also get, when you're just starting out, the exam cram workbook shipped right alongside your pre-licensing textbook. So this is what the state requires, and it is a 500-page textbook. This 100-page workbook, about 115 pages or so for this workbook here, this is the need-to-know information for the exam. Not necessarily your best details and legal context, but what you need to know for the exam. This is the secret recipe that we've got here at the Tampa School of Real Estate. And with the pro membership, you have simultaneous access to the pre-licensing as well as the exam prep, because we ultimately recommend using this exam prep as you go through the course to be able to review and reinforce as you move through the course, especially with the audio review. The audio review is our most condensed version of review. It's only 5 hours for the entire course, and it's all broken down by unit. So maybe 30, 45 minutes, you could listen to the entire unit in audio review. And it's only 5 hours versus the 60 hours of course content that you've got here. So that greatly simplifies it down. And then the exam cram videos that follow along with this workbook, where you could interact and fill in and highlight this workbook, lots of charts and visuals that you'll see in the workbook here. So even though it's only 115 pages, they're not super dense pages, a lot of charts, a lot of visuals, some practice questions that you'll be able to work through with this here. So that is a really great tool, and this is going to be the most detailed review that you'll have, other than just re-watching the videos in the course, which you could always do, but I don't want you to get hung up doing that, just because this is so much more detailed than what you'll see in the exam prep, and that really helps you focus in on what's important for passing your state exam. Because once you make it past the exam, you then enroll in post-licensing, and with your membership, as long as it's not the same month that you got started, which it probably won't be, although you can get licensed in less than a month, so it absolutely could be. So at the earliest, your second month of membership, you could then request your post-licensing activation. You do have to have your license, because you can't have the post-license, you can't get credit for the post-licensing at least until you get your license. If you want to just take the course knowing that you'll have to retake it when you get your license, here's what we're going to tell you. Don't focus on that, because it doesn't matter until you get your real estate license. And until you've proven your competence of the laws and rules, none of these other courses count for credit. So that's why this is the focus and why this is so important to begin with and to get started. And not necessarily to get hung up in any one detail or any part of this course, because again, those exam prep tools, you're going to see how much more simplified it actually gets. Because the state exam, they're not going to test you on every last topic that's in this course right here, in this book. This is 500 pages. That's a lot of details, and it does provide a lot of context and a lot of additional information, but the key things you need to know can be summed up in these 100 or so pages that we've got in this workbook right here, with a lot of spacing, a lot of blank space compared to this whole textbook that's right here, a lot of big paragraphs in that textbook. It's just a lot more wordy. But it is what the state requires to provide the full context. You then focus in with the exam prep, study, pass the exam, hopefully on your first try. That is our goal, because that helps maintain your momentum. Then as soon as you're licensed, that's where you want to get enrolled into the post-licensing course. And so this 45-hour post-licensing course, also included with your Real Estate Pro University, same format as the pre-licensing, video on demand. It's only 45 hours, so it's a much shorter course. There's no state exam. That's why we don't have any special exam prep tools. We don't have to make extra exam prep tools, because it's just an end-of-course exam. And if you could pass the state exam, you're going to have no problem doing this end-of-course exam. And more so because the content that's in this post-licensing course is much more real world. Over here with your pre-licensing and exam prep, you're studying laws and rules and some basics about real estate practice. But over here, instead of pre-licensing, a contract has to be in writing and signed. Over here, you're learning, how do you present an offer to a client? How do you submit an offer that could potentially win? How do you prospect for leads? What is your business plan? How many leads to how many appointments to how many contracts to how many closings? And being able to track that and managing your activities to drive your business. This is a huge part of the curriculum here. If you haven't done post-licensing, you're holding yourself back. It's like you're practicing real estate with a blindfold on. You absolutely can join a brokerage as soon as you're licensed, but if you haven't done your post-licensing, how do you even know you're joining the right brokerage for you and what you plan to do in real estate? And so this post-licensing course will help put you on a much more level playing field, because you'll actually understand a lot more about the real estate business as opposed to just the laws and rules that you learn in pre-licensing. So you want to do that right away. And then once you've basically completed those 3 stages there of the pre-licensing course, passing the state exam, and completing your post-licensing, you're good for ultimately about 4 years is when this continuing education is going to be due from the date that you get your license. And this is a much simpler requirement, 30-question open book exam, super easy, no course hours even required for that correspondence option that's included with your Real Estate Pro University there to make sure you can get that done. So a lot of different courses that are required, which you're going to think you're going to learn everything there is to know about real estate, but you're not. Here, you're really just focusing on the laws and rules. That's what it's about for getting your real estate license, laws and rules. Here, you really start to get into the good stuff, but it's still scratching the surface of some of the areas that you're going to need to know in much more detail, with much more specific and applicable and practical knowledge. If we were to cram that all into this would be a much longer course than 45 hours. And this is also about meeting that requirement for your renewal. But the training doesn't stop here. These are just the FREC-approved courses that are provided by Tampa School of Real Estate, Florida's leader in real estate education, where we also have live in-person classes, live online classes, in addition to the video on-demand programs that are included with Real Estate Pro University. But now let's get into the university. Let's graduate to the next level, and that's where you're getting into these university-specific courses now. So they're not requirements. They don't give you any credit for continuing education or any of that. It's not about that. It's about getting the knowledge and information that you need to know. For example, if you want to work with for sale by owner. So that's one of our spotlight showcase courses that we've got in here, is for sale by owner fundamentals. And this is ultimately about the for sale by owner market. So these are sellers that are trying to sell their property on their own, thinking ultimately that they can save money. And one of the juiciest nuggets of the FSBO Fundamentals course comes from statistics provided by the Association of Realtors that working with a real estate professional nets the seller anywhere from 10 to 30% more. And so even if you're paying a 7% commission, if you're only getting 10% more, they're still 3% ahead. And so it's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about positioning, perspective, and being able to be effectively in communication with this target market if that is a particular type of prospect you want to go after, which these are very hot leads. They just might take some convincing on why you as a real estate professional can ultimately get the job done better. And it's not just about telling them that you get the job done better. It's about getting them to realize and say for themselves that, you know what, I think you could do a better job at this than me. And it's subtle, and it does require significant degrees of follow-up. But you'll be able to understand this for sale by owner seller and where they're coming from, and ultimately be able to build out your strategy for converting for sale by owners into your listings, because those listings can be a gold mine for leads. And there's even some tricks in there to help you, even if you don't get the listing, still potentially be able to use it, help out the seller potentially, and get some leads out of it. So that's the FSBO Fundamentals course. This is another really effective one for lead generation. When you're getting started, the more leads you can generate, the more appointments you can potentially book. And the more appointments that you have with clients, the more commissions you could potentially earn. And the closer you'll get to those commissions, the more appointments that you have. This is a game of follow-up, but you do have to have a understanding of how to actually follow up, what to follow up on. And that's covered a lot in all of these courses here, because that is such an essential key part of the real estate business, is that follow-up in the communication. So in how renters become buyers, That's this course that we've got in the showcase right here. This is included with your Real Estate Pro University. This is now, how do you go after that target market of people that are renting that ultimately want to buy? And so there's credit hesitations right now. There's real estate market hesitations right now. And the thing is, these hesitations are timeless. Regardless of what's going on in the market, regardless of what's going on in your clients' lives, there may be misunderstandings. There may be lack of belief or lack of knowledge of the opportunities that are out there that are ultimately keeping them from becoming homeowners. They might not even simply understand the benefits of home ownership. Yes, it's a little bit more difficult to get into ownership than it is to renting an apartment, for example. But the rewards of owning can be very great, especially with a lot of the things that are in the pipe when we talk about potential homestead reductions to reducing taxes even more. That could potentially eliminate a whole exam question on homestead taxes if they just make homestead taxes zero. Not much of a math question there. You'll know that if you've already got your exam, because that's a very popular question on the exam. You learn all about that in your pre-licensing course. But again, another example of technical knowledge, technical legal knowledge that isn't your soft, your people skills. And look, even if you come from a background of sales or customer service or any sort of communication, I did too when I got started in real estate. I let that go to my head thinking that I didn't need some of these basic trainings because I thought I could just figure it out, which I could, but it's a lot easier to be given instructions than it is to using trial and error. Trial and error can result in the loss of momentum. Real Estate Pro University allows you to maintain that momentum because these trainings are not designed to be done in an afternoon and then you're done with it. These are designed to be done piece by piece, little by little, in repetition, to help bring you back to the basics, to help bring you back to the fundamentals, to help going back to this FSBO course here. You might have already been working with FSBOs, but maybe you're running into some friction trying to get additional deals. You might need to go back into the basics because you might be not realizing that you're breaking one of the golden rules that we talk about in that FSBO fundamentals course. Or maybe, again, it's adding a new line of potential prospects. In addition to working your sphere of influence, in addition to getting referral opportunities, in addition to leads your broker might provide you, how do you add another line of opportunities? And that could be positioning yourself as someone who could help renters become buyers. As a new agent, it's very easy to get a rental deal because a lot of real estate agents, especially ones that are actively doing sales, they don't always want to do rentals. But the ones that do understand that that tenant likely won't be a tenant forever. They will very likely, at some point in their lives, become an owner, and hopefully in the near future. And even if it's not in the near future, every person that you know, every person that you meet is an opportunity to get referral business. And this is all layered throughout the courses for referrals, just like follow-up. Follow-up and referrals can be applied universally across any aspect of your business that's dealing with people. Whether that's just people that you're talking to, people that you're following up with, past clients, potential clients, whatever it might be. Open House Essentials. This is another very popular training in the Real Estate Pro University platform because what this does is this helps you understand an open house not just as an opportunity to showcase the house, but as an opportunity to showcase yourself and obtain new clients. As a prospecting, using open houses as a prospecting opportunity. Because there's no better prospecting opportunity than at an open house. Now, if someone shows up with a real estate professional, then, they're already working with a real estate agent. But for everyone who shows up without a real estate professional, it's extremely likely they don't have a real estate professional. Otherwise, they'd probably be on a private showing with a real estate professional as opposed to coming to an open house. So open houses are a great opportunity to shake more hands, to make more connections, and these are the best type because they're literally potential buyers. Sure, some of them might just be nosy neighbors, but those nosy neighbors might be considering selling their home. So this is your opportunity to wow them with how you could effectively showcase this property. So that's the Open House Essentials course. The contract essentials, the contract you're going to use most is this one right here, the FAR bar as is, because you're going to use that with buyers, you're going to use that with sellers. Pretty much anytime you're doing residential real estate in Florida, that's the go-to agreement. And we go line by line through that agreement so you understand what the lines are and what those blanks are. And so that way you can be confident in submitting offers. But now before you can submit an offer or receive an offer for a seller, you have to have an employment agreement, either the buyer or an employment agreement with the seller. So the buyer brokerage agreement for a transaction broker relationship, as well as the exclusive right of sale listing agreement for the transaction broker relationship, the most popular version of the listing agreement and buyer brokerage agreement here in Florida. We cover all that line by line, blank by blank. So you have the trifecta of the 3 agreements that you need to be able to conduct business in Florida, from signing sellers, so you have listings, to maybe, again, holding that open house so you could generate leads, and then you could hopefully sign some of those buyers as a buyer, and then ultimately you could get that listing sold with the FAR bar as is contract. You could get all those buyers potentially sold on other properties that are maybe listed by another agent with that same FAR bar as is contract. So this is one of the things that held me back when I got started in real estate, is I didn't know how to do any of these agreements. We didn't even use buyer brokerage agreements as an industry standard thing back when I got started in real estate. But listing agreements and buyer brokerage agreements still existed, they just weren't used. But I didn't know how to fill out any of these, and it severely impacted my business, because when I had the opportunities, I would stall. I would almost talk myself out of the deal. You got to maintain that forward momentum, and if you don't know the contracts, if you don't know these 3, you don't need to know them all. There's more contracts. There's all these addendums that are out there. There's a lot more to know, but these are all short, just a couple hours total of video going through line by line, and it's all broken down by clause, by paragraph. So you could literally go to the financing section and review that anytime you need to for that FAR bar as is, or review the compensation section and make sure you fill that out appropriately, or review the buyer brokerage agreement. Any one particular section or the entire thing. That's the beauty of the 24/7 on-demand access to Real Estate Pro University. Not only can you start this and complete it anytime, but you could go back and review it at any time. And it makes it very easy to find those particular sections for these agreements. So that way, again, you could confidently maintain that momentum and move in the direction of more deals. Now, some of the other trainings that we've got in here, this is with instructor Robert Paredes, and these actually even are CE quality classes in terms of knowledge as it relates to understanding both VA loans and mortgage essentials. Especially in the Tampa Bay area, but throughout Florida, there's military bases and lots of veteran population. So the VA loan is a very popular option for veterans, spouses of veterans, and anyone else who could qualify for that VA loan. But for everyone, almost everyone uses a mortgage to buy their real estate, to buy their home. Very rarely are deals done all cash in the grand scheme of things. They happen all the time, but most deals are through financing. So these financing essentials are designed to help make you familiar so you're able to communicate with the mortgage brokers and loan officers that are going to be handling these, how to follow up with them, how to understand what points of the deal and the process are going on. This is getting into some of the more advanced training, but it's good to have and good to know, so that way, again, your clients obtaining financing are not anything that's hindering you from getting deals done. So you can get access to this entire library, all of the FREC-required courses, all of the lead generation, all of the contract training, the financing training, and you're grandfathered into any additional future courses and content that are added into the Pro University platform, and you get that all for just $87 per month. And if you've got a real estate team or even an entire brokerage, we have solutions where we could provide this entire platform or just the sales training aspects of this to your entire brokerage. So reach out to us at the office if you do have interest in adding this for your team or for your brokerage, especially if you do want to add all of those FREC-required courses. We could have a platform option available for you that provides that to all of your agents, so that way they don't have to worry about any of their sales associate requirements, from obtaining the license to maintaining the license and all of the professional development training that's included with this. And here's some of the reviews and testimonials from some of our past students and alumni. And you'll see tons of stories like this one about passing the exam on your first try. Now, this is not necessarily an indication of whether or not you'll be a great real estate agent, is how easy it is for you to pass this exam, because this is a test of your knowledge and memory of the laws and rules, not necessarily whether or not you'll be a good real estate agent. Hopefully you won't break the law after this course and the exam. That's ultimately the Florida Real Estate Commission's intention, is that you don't break the law. But it can be hard to really put yourself in that position and wrap your brain around just understanding the legal aspect of that. And that's where those exam prep tools help out so much to help get you passing that exam, from the question simulator to the exam cram videos, the audio review, all of that, the secrets of the exam, which is like your instruction manual, how to use all of that. That is a phenomenal program that you could also purchase as a standalone thing from Tampa School of Real Estate. But for the cost of the subscription membership, it's significantly less, especially when you do this quickly. If you want to get your license in a month, Real Estate Pro University is the option for you. If you want to take a year to get it done, you could purchase these courses individually for ultimately cheaper across a year if you pay for that in advance through tampaschoolofrealestate.com. But with the membership options, you're getting those same video on-demand courses, and especially with the Pro University option, with the Pro plan, you're getting that entire library of content, as well as the simultaneous access to your pre-licensing course, as well as exam prep. And you may be wondering, is real estate the right decision? And you may be wondering that right now. And then maybe 2 years later, you're like Ricardo here, realizing this was the smartest, the best, the greatest decision of your life. It might not seem like that now. It might not seem like that when you're trying to study for the exam. It might not seem like that when you're trying to get through the post-licensing and join a broker. And it might not seem like that when you don't have your first deal yet. But as you start to chip away and move yourself closer and closer to that dream that you're after, that you're chasing, that is powered by real estate, that's where you start to really realize that all of this work, all of this dedication, everything that you've put into this is starting to pay off. And that's when you really start to even pay closer attention to those basics and fundamentals to be able to tweak and improve your business. Because once you get your business going, it becomes about the optimization, that continual improvement. How do you build it bigger than yourself to someday start a real estate team? To where if you want to take a vacation, your business doesn't stop. You have a whole team of agents that are still working, maybe even around the clock, especially when you start factoring what you could do with AI. But in order to achieve this success, you need guidance, especially if you want to achieve it quickly or at all. Because when time is working against you, when it feels like you're moving backwards instead of moving forward because you don't know what the right step to take is, you don't know what step is forward, so you keep stepping one way or the other, and you end up not going anywhere. That's what happens when you don't have the proper guidance and mentorship. And so Real Estate Pro University is there to help give you that guidance, to help you create that business plan, to help keep you on track, to help provide you the information so you know everyday activities that you can implement to grow your real estate business. And this is all designed to be 100% online and accessible, but this is all powered by Tampa School of Real Estate. And so while we do provide the finest and best Florida real estate education on the planet, this is all born out of our classrooms right here where we're broadcasting live from today at our new Tampa office. The tens of thousands of Tampa School of Real Estate alumni that have came before you have helped lay the groundwork and the path, because we're constantly optimizing to deliver the best platform possible. And even as a classroom student, you could utilize Real Estate Pro University just for its sales training aspects. So that way you could train on a daily basis and you could still complete your 63-hour course, your 45-hour course, all of that in person, if that's how you prefer. But for most of our students, especially if you're in another country, because again, we've had students from over 40 countries, we've had over 70,000 Tampa School of Real Estate alumni, and you have access to this platform through the TSRE Plus portal. So when you log into Real Estate Pro University, there's discussion boards where you can see the stories of real estate agents that have came before you, that have shared what have they've done to pass their exam, to get their first deal, to choose the brokerage, to whatever question that you want to pose, because again, you have the opportunity to connect with this community directly through those discussion boards. And you can access this on the go and even offline for most of the content in the platform with our app. You simply are just going to have to search TSRE in the App Store or the Google Play Store. Just search it up. You can download it right on there, sign in with the same account info you would sign in online, and you have access to all of your video on-demand courses, all of your Real Estate Pro University, and even your digital materials if you're a classroom student, right through this app. So Real Estate Pro University is something we're extremely proud of here at the Tampa School of Real Estate. You can find more details about it at realprou.com. Again, that's realprou.com. Or you could reach out to our advisors 24/7. Call us up, 888-588-7480. Again, that's 888-588-7480. Whether you're just someone getting started on your real estate journey, or you're a real estate brokerage or team that wants to be able to provide a training solution, an on-demand training solution and platform for their agents, reach out to us, realprou.com to find out more online, or call us at 888-588-7480. That's about all the time that we have for today's broadcast. I greatly appreciate you tuning in with me here today to learn more about Real Estate Pro University, to learn more about obtaining your real estate license, passing your real estate exam, completing your post-licensing, and ultimately setting your real estate career up for success. Again, if there's anything we could help you out with, don't be afraid to call that number, 888-588-7480. It's all the time we've got for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you for next week's broadcast.
Have you been thinking about getting your Florida real estate license? Look, the process is probably easier than you think. We break it down step by step, how much it's going to cost, what it is that you need to do to get your Florida real estate license. Find out all of that and more at licensefl.com. Again, that's licensefl.com. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're going to love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam, because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. So you just got your real estate license. How can you jumpstart your real estate business? The number one thing you should do before you do anything else is post-licensing. Now look, this is already a requirement, so you're gonna have to do it anyways, but here's why you wanna do it early. The sooner you do post-licensing, the sooner you're gonna learn the real-world concepts in post-licensing that will help you create a business plan, that'll help you plan for your success in real estate. Post-licensing is all about real-world topics that are usable, that'll help you grow your real estate business. And at Tampa School of Real Estate, we have the best post-licensing courses around. Find out more about how post-licensing can help you jumpstart your real estate career. Go to postflorida.com.
estate is something that you're interested in pursuing, if you're interested in advancing your career, maybe you had your license before and it didn't quite work out. You didn't have the right guidance, you didn't have the right situation, you weren't at the right firm for you. It's okay to start over. It's okay to start again. Even if you've lost your real estate license and you maybe see the interest rates dropping and the real estate market picking up again, that you're interested in reactivating your real estate license. But the main thing is, again, finding out about these opportunities. So dress to impress. Come to the career fair ready to impress these recruiters at these firms, even if you are brand new. You know, this event is a very safe space. I don't even like using words like that, but it really is, because if you're new and you don't really know about real estate, this is the perfect place to come to ask those questions, because this is a room you could put yourself in with people that are going to be far beyond the experience that you have in real estate, even if you are just getting started. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. Get your eyes opened to the opportunities that are out there.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.